welcome everyone to our community call on LibreWater Iraq-Greece collaboration. I'm particularly interested with this community call because I think it was an amazing opportunity to see some of our the work of two very interesting members come together. It all started a year and a half ago, I would say, and a year ago since the initiation of the project, where our members from the team, from the LibreWater team, applied for small funding with our members from Iraq, the Science Camp team in Iraq, to work on a second iteration of a desalination solar-powered open hardware device. I'm very, very curious on what happened during that year, as I was saying, and I think today really represents not just an example of not just like the opportunity to learn more about the hardware and the development, but to actually dig deeper into this collaboration, a digital collaboration, I would say, that really is at the heart of what GIG is about and what we try to achieve within this community. So today we have with us Tom Dietel representing the team, and Spiros actually just made it. I'm so glad. So Spiros and Tom Dietel representing the team from LibreWater. And Tom, you're based in Germany. Spiros is based in Greece. And then we have with us also Nauras, the director and executive director of the amazing science camp in Basra, Iraq, one of our very dedicated members who've worked on so many projects, very impressive projects, and have been also a key partner to this collaboration. So with this, I will hand over to our speakers today. So basically, we'll start by listening more from Tom, Nauras, and Spiros, of course, on the project, the idea, and if you have any visuals, any presentations that you would like to showcase, please do so. We'll make sure that we open the sharing options for that. And then after this, we're going to open up the floor for more questions. And I'm going to say this here one more time. As we were talking with our speakers today, I was like, please tell us about the great work, but also give us the full picture into also what was hard, what are the failures, learnings, because I think these are some of the most important resources that are often taken for granted. And we'd really love to hear from you on the full experience and see how we could learn from this, maybe even how we can replicate it or iterate what you have worked on already on a bigger scale. So thank you so much for coming today. And with this, I'll hand over to any of the speakers who would like to start.
I mean, I can start because for me, it has been a quite unique journey since my master thesis, where I explored this project and where I joined it. And yeah, I came to this open source cosmos and this open collaboration with the interest to find a master thesis with some purpose in my view. So I was super happy to explore the project itself, but then even all the opportunities that came up afterwards, just by being included in the project and going for some funds and showcasing the project here and there where it was possible. It was super exciting, and so was Republica 1.5, 2 years ago when I was there for my first time. Many cool projects, many very cool people in this community. So I was super excited about to hear there's another project that already works on solar concentrators and stuff, and you get these crazy ideas of, hey man, that's cool, that's exactly what I need. We just put these two together and this could work. Let's convince them, let's see how we can make it happen. So yeah, it was quite a fruitful time. So this was like the introduction to it all. And yeah, during this, of course, a lot of challenges come up, and now it almost seems like it's everyday business. I don't know, it's pretty normal to work like that or to collaborate like that and have meetings and create some spaces where you can exchange on everything. But yeah, when I look at it, it's quite a unique way for me since my studies. So this is what really hypes me for this project.
maybe handing over to the next speaker, Noras or Spiros. Would one of you like to go next? Noras.
Okay. I think I can share screen, maybe. There is many options, and I think this is the one. Yes. Now, can you see the share screen now?
Yeah.
Okay. Then we work together with the LibreWater team within the gig family to develop and make a career project as replicable and possible everywhere, as it is a project related to one of the very basic needs of a human, which is the water, the clean water. So as a makers and the Fab Lab try to develop a solution with the maker movement skills and maker movement infrastructure here in Science Camp and everywhere, and how to make it simple. So it is not about a very advanced or high-tech technology, but it's about how to make it possible for everybody. This topic is one of the most important things I learned during this project, and I thank the LibreWater team for that, because they keep me focused on this point of how to make it possible for everybody, how to make it simple and replicable. In this way, we make the design or make some changes in the design to make it in this way. Unfortunately, we couldn't make it and bring it to Germany. This is the new 3.5 version, let's say, of the Korea project. This is supposed to be shown in Republica this year, but unfortunately for the visa issues, we couldn't make it. So this is the first prototype. And on the screen, we share the manual of the project, how it is developed. As you see, we replace the 3D printing process with laser cut because water leakage and because of precise cuts can be become more applicable and more precise with the laser cut rather than 3D printing, because 3D printing need many parameters to set up to make it possible and perfect. So one of the major issues we face during developing the process or how to make it replicable in Science Camp, we can understand and fix it, but we want to be possible for everybody. So we think after conversation with LibreWater team to make it laser cut, because laser cut will make it more precise and make it possible for a wide range of materials. So this is, in general, you can find it somehow complex maybe, but if we go further, we can find that every 3D printed part, we keep the same original design as much as possible, and adding some extra holes for securing with more bolts and nuts, and make it consist from 3 layers. Yes.
Sorry, I just for like storytelling purposes, I would love if we could go even to the very start of it. And I don't know if other people agree or not, but I would love to know, like, where does the initial problems, where did the initial problem start? Like, how was LibreWater before you jumped onto the project? And maybe if you can explain very simply, what did you think and why did you think you needed to iterate or do something better, and then lead us through the technical elements, just because I'm really curious about the initial problem and how this collaboration was striked in the first place, and why was it striked. And I know that it really is related to some of the conversation that you've had the year before at Republica. So this was all, if I just can allow myself to kind of lead the conversation a little bit.
Yes. Thank you very much. I was somehow hurry because of the 10 minutes. So now I can feel more comfortable with time.
Please.
Yes,
have time.
actually, in Iraq, we suffer from water issue for years, especially in a city like Basra. It is very strange, the city that has 3 rivers, but don't have clean water from tap to drink. So in 2023, I guess, I met with Spiros and Tom and see the LibreWater project, and we start the conversation of how to make this solution possible in Iraq. Science camp geography in Basra, southern of Iraq, and it's about less than 100 meters from Shatt al-Arab, one of the biggest rivers in Iraq. But we suffer from the issue of water. Science camp also work on distilling water or making water purified through many ways, like condensing water from air and other practices, and also as other makers, and especially the gig-related makers, we are environment friendly and want everything to be solar, green, or sustainable. So this start of friendship and collaboration within the umbrella of gig and the understanding of each other needs and capabilities as a makers, we start the collaboration to how to make it possible in Basra, in Iraq. At that point, we take and build the first blueprint of the LibreWater after we sit and discuss it in Republica 2014 event. So I understand how to assemble and how to make parts and how to work on the, let's say, Iraqi version, or the version can be applicable in Iraq and everywhere. In this point, we start the collaboration and get fund from the umbrella of gig and other friends how to make this possible. And we start to develop on the technical part, which is the major part I can talk about. And one of the outcomes of this collaboration is this prototype 3.5, version 3.5, where we can put the river water from this side and collect the distilled water from this side. And I will talk to you about the technical changes and feature we do as makers together and as giggers. So one of the outcomes is the manual. Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
Thank you so much for the introduction. I think this is a perfect start. We'll get back to you again. I'd be interested to hear also from Spiros, and then Tom, I can see your hand. Spiros, if you could also introduce yourself and how you were involved at LibreWater in the first place, and talk to us about how you came into this collaboration.
Great. Yeah. Thank you, Fadia. So Spiros, I initiated this project together with Simon Meyer. So we were the first two ones to be involved in LibreWater. And first, I would like to apologize if there is some noise. I didn't manage to make it on time to be inside, so I'm outside. So this started, I think it was 21 or 22 that we got together with Simon. My background was mechanical engineering, and Simon's was had experience with desalinations. He is also an engineer. He had worked in the field, and he had seen the pains between big systems and the lack of small systems to desalinate water. And then he had this idea of building something that is small and easy for everybody to replicate. And then I introduced the idea that we make this open source. So we tried to figure out how we could do this, how we can use technologies like 3D printing to make this happen, and if it is possible. So we started creating some prototypes together to see if we can have a small device that everybody can build by themselves, no matter where they are in the world, in a fab lab or in a makerspace. And with this, they can provide themselves with clean water, clean drinking water. That was the basic idea behind it. The technology was already there. We didn't invent the technology. We just tried to convey it to this domain that I'm explaining, that it has these characteristics that everybody can do it in that way. And that was the struggle. And I think we did well. We created some prototypes. We did a lot of testing inside, and it was promising. That's why we kept on pushing for it. We received some funding. We received some awards for it, and it was doing well. While at some point we figured out, well, we need to move out of the lab. and we need to finally have it tested outside. And for this, we would like it to be solar. And we didn't have experience with solar, so we were seeking for a partner to take over this step. And that's exactly when Gig came inside. We were part of Republica, as it was mentioned 2 years ago. And then we discussed with Norris, and he said his team had experience with solar, so we thought we could something with it. And in the end, that's exactly what happened. We managed to get a funding again granted, and then we used this funding to turn this device into solar. So it didn't need to be in the lab, it didn't need to be plugged in somewhere. You could have it without electricity and actually used in the field. So this is where we are. This is what Norris and his team tested, and that's what they're gonna be sharing about. So I think that's enough from my side. Maybe I can talk in the end again, some wins and losses maybe that we had from the experience. But for now, I think it's okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And as what you can see right now shared on Nauris's screen is the picture or the image of LibreWater, the device itself, and also as Nauris has shown us on camera. Tom, you had your hands raised. Would you like to also come in and talk about your involvement at the project?
I think I talked about my involvement, or I found to the project, but I wanted to add up to Naf's point of the starting point of this collaboration, and also Virus introduced it well, because the initial state we had was this box-like prototype, and we were making tests and build it up for the laboratory. So basically in this prototype, we used the heat source of an electrical heating pad to have like a better controlled environment, and we can get like straight data out of it. But in the end, of course, we see this piece of hardware in real life conditions, helping communities where they can go to a makerspace and find help, maybe find a bit of service, and can replicate a smaller system for themselves. So in the end, this should be like solar powered, like solar thermal powered. That's why we were interested in this technology of solar concentrators or lenses and all that. So this was like the perfect point where we had this lab prototype and we needed another space. We need this field implementation and the real conditions and requirements to the prototype. So it wouldn't make sense for us to build it in Germany and put it in a garden. I think we have other systems and solutions to it, but it's exactly for other realities where it makes more sense to implement a solution like that. So this was very, very interesting to find Science Camp, which is like in this harsh condition of water scarcity and heat abundance. So this is like, in that sense, the perfect conditions, but also finding that partner that is very elaborated on the topic. This was perfect. So, yeah.
Amazing, thank you. And just to put a bit of context, and maybe Nauris, you can tell us more about this, but arguably Basra, specifically Basra in Iraq, is one of the hottest spots on the planet. So it's not a coincidence to try to use some of these like extreme circumstances to actually use it as to benefit the people. And also maybe Nauris, you can tell us more about the need for the water, and then slowly get us into the technical element that we'd love to know more about.
Yes, the need of water is very essential, and no need for explain why water is important. But if we want to talk specifically on Basra, which is one of the hottest, or it may be the hottest spot in the world, sometimes it becomes something like 70 or something in centigrade. Also, we work on a project related to use the solar energy to melt steel or to burn things, and how to develop an energy. It is very promising, and actually nowadays in Basra, Total company, the French company, start a STP, solar thermal plant project in Basra. So that means that the weather and the hot solar energy of Basra is feasible to start this type of sustainable energy big project. I'm very happy for that, and I hope I'm to be part of this community site to support this type of technology in Basra. Return back to the need of water. It's something like opposite, hot and water. Everything needs to be cooled down by waters, and the need of water, even for the human body, is become more and more related to the hot weather. So if we are talking about the hottest spot in the world, so of course, we may be the most people need water. And how to make this water possible and drinkable or maybe usable for a human? This is the issue. From the technical part, there is many ways to desalinate water, but a very green way, a very sustainable way, and there is no movable parts. There is no need for a high tech, and how to make it possible for everybody. It is very genius and very valuable values I found in LibreWater project. For that reason, we start the collaboration and find out that even the design, the need of solar energy to desalinate water may be not only possible, but may be perfect in a place like Basra, where the sun and solar energy is free and high. From that point, start the beginning the collaboration, and as I mentioned before, several minutes ago about that. And if I have time, I can also share with you the technical part, or maybe after, up to you.
Maybe at this point we could just take a couple of questions and then go deeper. Do we have any questions from the audience so far, from our members?
Okay.
Okay, in that case, please lead us through the technicalities of making this happen.
Okay. The part which I like. I still share the screen, or?
Yes, we can see your screen. We can see it from the first.
Okay. So you can see it now? I share the screen.
Yes,
Can you
can see if you can start moving the documents, it will work for us.
Okay. Yes. As you see, this is the 3.1 Acaria project. And this is how it is disassembled into modular or functional modules. The red one, which is the only one, is the thick plate of steel, which is the solar heating. This is the area where the solar energy collected. The yellow plates in this way, they are the plate where the water is evaporated and recondensed after losing the salt. The fluid system is the blue part, where it is the majority of the project, where the raw water put from upside and then desalinate through the lower side, where the fluid system, the other part, collect everything and make it collectible, and the casing in green. This is better way, and you can see in this shareable document in the project repository, you will find everything in numbers and names and amount and how to build it. This is disassembled project. The important part related to this is the development, or what is added for this design. As you see, this is one of the upper parts of the fluid system, where 3D printed previously, but now it's composed from 3 laser cutted material. So we can say the design is simplified to make it possible and become more precise, and to secure it from water leakage, we increase the number of holes to secure it by bolts. This is the middle parts, and this is the lower part, and you can see the slope in this cut where the water after desalination process will drop down from this part. Also, this part is a type of clear rubber where can be replaced by any rubbery and water sealant material, and can be no chemical interaction with water. So this is the sealant process or parts we used. Also bolts and nuts and some spacers. In this part, there is the piece of aluminum, 1 millimeter aluminum plate with a wick or a type of fabric with 10 holes, 5 in the upper side and 5 in the lower side, and to make it easy to rotate and clean up later on. In our prototype, we use a type of fabric used in cleaning windows where it is provide better water absorbability. Yes. This is the module of the evaporating the water. This is the heat part where the aluminum sheet with every part related from the upper side in the fluid system and the lower side where the slot will drop down the clean water. Also, we can see the clear rubber sealant. This is the other layer of the modules, which is there are 3 layers in the project. This is the fabric layer, will be condensed and pressed between 2 layers of sealant to secure it from leakage from this chamber, which is the water reservoir, to drop down and evaporate over the aluminum and go on. So the other part will be just like that. And there is a clear acrylic 6 millimeter thickness laser cut acrylic part to make the project easy to monitor through its clarity and can be used and is available everywhere and can be cut by laser. So this is the side covers to make the evaporated water go only from the upper side. This is the final coverage. You can see there is a big hole here to provide the solar energy, and the other open side with this side and lower part to collect the water. In general, after put all the parts together, it will be just like that, but this is in a vertical way. It's supposed to be vertical, not sorry, horizontal. Should be vertical to use the gravity and the upper side is exactly like this. And if we want to take more look about the project, from there will be the water collection and the other upper side where the water is put. Yes, this is the upper side, and can we see the yellow color for the wicks or the fabric parts to make absorb the water through the project, through the apparatus. And then we will collect the distilled water from the side. If we go, yes, this is the lower part where we expected the water to be collected from this 4 parts. In this way, we finished the manual, and I hope to try it in your countries and try it with different weathers, with different sun energies, and support us with your feedback on how to make it more developed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Naris. Amazing. I enjoyed this technical display very much, being a very non-technical person. So thank you for simplifying it. Just incredible. So any questions from the audience so far, like technical questions maybe? In that case, I would love to talk more about the collaboration. So how did you work on this? And this to me is a very interesting element of the project. First of all, I would also like to give a shout out and a big thank you to Ricardo, who's here and who has supported in this project from the start of writing the proposal and getting it done and communicating with the funders. So hello, Ricardo, and please feel free to jump in at any point. And my next question would be for maybe the for the parties involved on the project. Where would you say, so what is the biggest learning doing this across borders? What did you expect at the beginning, and maybe something that changed along the way, that changed your mind on how you're doing this, or how you would do this again in the future?
Yes, of course. Many of the thing we learned from this project is how to develop an idea, not from scratch, because it's already designed and well designed and everything worked perfectly from the first part. But how to make it possible and suitable for our environment and our infrastructure and what we have here. On the other hand, we learn the project management, because in the maker movement, majority of human resources and maker spaces focus on the technical part, but how to make it perfect and complete as a project from all aspects, like the financial part, the media collecting, and how to produce a manual, and how to transfer the knowledge from not just build the prototype, but also how to make it possible for others. This is one of the valuable lessons we learn from our collaboration. Also, being part of geek community and how to support us, because in many points I lose the not the focus, let's say, lose how to proceed with the project because I am the tech guy and focus on the technical part, but there is another type of work we need to do also. Being part of a community of makers and within the umbrella of gig that make it possible, and to know at each step what we to do and what we have to do, or where our energy should be to applied on focus. In this way, we reach to this point where we now can talk about the project. And also during Republica, even I not joined, but there was a project possible to share with everybody, and we reached this point, I think, successful, and we are happy with that. So this type of community-related values is the major lessons we learn.
Amazing. I wonder, how is it for your side, Tom and Spiros?
Yeah, super interesting as well, because we never had this situation before, right? We were quite a small team, and we had like contributions from individuals all over the world, but they were rather small or like very temporarily. So having this collaboration run over several months was different already. And then, yeah, for the first time, we were confronted with how can we create this meaningful knowledge transfer towards the prototype itself, but also can you guys hear me? Because I was disconnected. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Now we can,
Okay,
yes.
Notice
okay.
can also maybe stop sharing the screen so we can see each other in bigger view, if that's possible.
So yeah, because I had a short disconnection.
It's okay. Please continue.
So yeah, the knowledge transfer was like super interesting to us, because we need to onboard the science cam team to get what's behind the technology already that's in the small prototype, and in the same time we want to give as much guidance as needed and as possible. Maybe it's also a personal view of mine, but I'm pretty perfectionist in a lot of sense. I have design background. I want to make things nice and perfect. So they come in and the others, so they can work independently, but also you want to be supportive as much as possible, right? So finding these structures and the time for that, finding time slots to have this feedback. Yeah, it's rather smaller things for me that were super interesting, like how much input should I even get without others asking, because I know a lot of the background of the project, right? So I can give some guidance, but also this is like a distributed design. So you give it away and people do what they want according to their individual context, and then they bring it back. So yeah, it's this balancing of a collaboration, which was completely new and super interesting.
Ricardo.
Hello, everyone. Good morning from outer space. I have one quick question and very interesting one. First of all, congratulations, everyone. Just like Fadia said, I've been following it and I could see how hard it was for everyone to meet the time, the necessities from the founder, the necessities from the project, and so on. So really congratulations, everyone. It was a nice project, very well concluded, with a nice report to the funder. This is super important. And then I have one question related to that. What are your next steps? You know, what do you plan from now on? Both LibreWater crew and Science Camp crew. I remember there's a new prototype in mind, the one with a lot of small kids. And basically, what are the next steps that you are planning and how Geek can support on that again? Bye, back to my spaceship.
Spiros?
Can I answer?
Yes, please.
Yes. The next step, actually, I'm thinking of 3 things. One of them is developing the project to make it more scalable, and how to make the amount of water is higher and higher from technical part. The other idea is how to make a type of rising awareness by making a workshop. So LibreWater project can be a very good tool to make a workshop and practical hands-on activities of how to develop a tool applicable everywhere and anywhere to make it as a rise awareness by making people desalinate their own water as a workshop or community activities. And we can drive from that the third point, which how to make it like a kit for developing awareness about water desalination, or for curriculums or studies, or for a student. So if we make this possible in a form of kit, this may be a good idea when we provide this type of tool of desalinating water on the desktop. So this is what I'm thinking about.
Beautiful. Spiros, what do you have to say on this?
And now this part of the project is just concluded this month. So it's still in a phase that it's being documented. And I find this critical because the documentation in an open source project is very important, because it's what stays. For example, I didn't have the prototype in my hands. I don't know what it looks like now in this version. So it's only up to what Norris manages to capture there that I will be able to replicate it myself, for example. And I can imagine that's even more difficult for people that were never involved before. So that's why this is critical now that it's done in a proper way, like the documentation is done clearly and everybody can take it from there, whether we are in the project or not. So the next steps from there onwards would be to finalize for me like this solar prototype. Like we had some tests, but it still needs that we conclude which is the most stable version that people can take it from there and they don't need to experiment themselves. And this probably needs some more time. And from there, I guess we would start actually testing it on site. That would be the interesting part, where actually people take it, try to build it, provide feedback, and we get different opinions about different parts of the world, what pain points they had, what materials they couldn't find, how they would do it in a different way. And that would be the exciting part, where you don't need to be involved as much, but the community takes over and makes use of it.
Beautiful. I have several points on this, but first we have a question from Martin Ulo in Kenya, Fab Lab Winam. Martin is asking basically, how much did the prototype cost? Does anyone, can you tell? Is this kind of
I can tell it cost $25, no, $15,000. You know, not the prototype in general, but all the research and everything involved and collaboration and so on. So and the time involved for everyone working on that, it costed $15,000. But the prototype per se, the machine per se, I think it was around $5,000 maybe, right, Norris? I'm not sure.
Yes, this is the value where we use to develop the prototype in Iraq.
But then just a quick question on this. If this is the value of developing it and doing and putting in the testing and research, but if you have decided now on the right version of it, how much would you say, how much would it cost to replicate it, like to make it again?
I think we can make a calculation according to the user manual we share. So I think it's maybe, I'm not sure, I need to do some calculations, but in general, we are talking about several hundreds of dollars maybe to make it possible, or maybe, I hope we can make it in about $100 or less, but I need to make calculations.
Beautiful. Yes, Firas, go ahead.
That was the target, to be less than $100. We're talking about materials, of course, not like the value of anybody's time and worth to do it. But considering that the materials are simple off-the-shelf parts, like aluminum plates, nuts and bolts, and then the 3D printing filament, it's not very expensive to build. So that's the basic idea, that it should be less than $100, no matter where you are in the world, to replicate this. And of course, it's scalable because you can build more of those. And then, of course, it would be a different cost. But like to start with, it should be less than $100.
Amazing. Saad, would you like to come in here?
Yeah, I have a question. I think it's a documentation and the technology is very important, yes. But I absolutely agree that for this project to replicate in different scenarios and different settings, we want to try and make it accessible. And the question always comes up is like, how do people relate to what the device does? Because the device at the end of the day is just a device. So my question is technical but non-technical. The water that's produced using the device, I mean, there is some desalination involved. So my question is, what does the water taste like? What does the water smell like? And if you desalinate, or if you operate the device in Basra, and if you operate the device in Greece, and you operate the device in Berlin, what would the difference be in the taste of the water? And maybe we can combine them in interesting ways and turn it into a cocktail. I don't know, just curious about like, what does it taste like? Has anybody tasted it? Is it drinkable?
I have tested the water, not from this prototype that Norris has, but the previous one. I think it's a bit tasteless in the sense that it's missing a lot of the minerals that have been also removed, like a lot of the particles and stuff are also removed. So it's quite pure water. Maybe like sometimes you would get the scent of the plastic because of the 3D printed parts, which wasn't necessarily pleasant, but it was generally tasteless, I would say. Which had also given us the idea that you can also have something that like to enhance flavor afterwards if you want. But we haven't reached that place yet because the main idea is to serve people that don't have access to clean water. So first we need to see that the water is actually okay for their health and they manage to survive or don't get sick. And then of course we can work on making it more appealing. At least that was my approach.
Yes. From my side, yes, I test it. I drink it actually. Yes, it's tasteless and the clear water, and it's basically depends on the evaporation and distillation principle. So as it is expected, it is H2O, the distilled water, with a minimal amount of maybe minerals or salty part related to or come from air or the apparatus part, which is supposed to be very clean. So in general, it's drinkable water. In general, we may develop more research about its quality, but yes, basically we can talk about the drinkable water.
That sounds very promising. So if we use the water It doesn't taste salty. You're saying it tastes like water. We can use it to make coffee, can't we?
Yes, just for fun, at the first time when we developed the prototypes, when the salty water and the non-suitable fabric type, we increased the salt at first. It was very surprising. But after iteration and development of the project, it's become no. You can make your coffee with.
And also nice to see as it's out of minerals, you can also use in car batteries and in car radiation systems. Just adding on the last thing that Spiro said, would be nice to reflect upon the open flexure business model, you know, to have it online and people can download, but you can also buy from different stores or makerspace around the globe. So perhaps a campaign to share it around makerspace is also a nice idea, you know. Reflect upon the open flexure business model can be interesting. If it's drinkable and you can make coffee, you can actually forward it directly to coffee, you know, like do your own coffee with salinated water.
Absolutely. And if I can add very quickly on this, because I was thinking exactly that, Ricardo, I think a good and interesting part to think about the scaling model of open hardware in general, which is one of the outcomes from the gathering that we had in Berlin and one of the workshops that we'd like to get deeper into. So we have the open flexure, and the LibreWater would be another interesting device that we could work on and test our theories on, would be to also research the market. Where is the most necessity for that? Because as you said, it might be tasteless water, but it might be very necessary in certain areas, not just areas that are hit by conflict, but maybe poor areas or like areas where there is no access to drinkable water. So maybe this is, you know, another thing to look into when you're thinking about scaling this device. Spiros?
I also had a lot of thoughts around open flexure and comparisons with it. And one thing that I find interesting is that like open flexure opened up to the biggest part of the public once it was pretty mature and ready. Like what we try to do is we try to do the R&D part or the designing part already with the communities and the people involved. And if I have to compare between the two, I would see that the first part worked much better. Like open flexure like came to a stable version and then opened it up to the community. At least my experience from trying to do the research in this decentralized way was also quite exhausting because it's we're talking about the art of collaboration and having to work with different time zones, different cultures, different days of different software, all these kind of pains in a phase that needs very intense. And typically you would do it in your basement with your pals and you would work on something, do it and then again. And now we didn't have this access like to the distance. I haven't seen the prototype myself yet, like this version. So something is built, you try to give comment from distance. So I was more hopeful about this. Like I was hoping that it's the right way to do it, to involve the community since the beginning, to have people working together in this way. But I also feel now the pain points of it, that it might
I think
more
we've lost.
to receive feedback.
Can you repeat the last 30 seconds? We lost you for the last 30 seconds, so that's okay.
I think that as a take, I would suggest that it might be better to conclude the R&D part with a small group of people that can meet physically between them, can share experiences, and then open it up to another audience. I hope you heard it this time.
Yes.
No? Okay.
Beautiful. And what we're gonna try to do, me and Nedza here from our side, is to send a nicely generated summary to the rest of the network, because I think what I love the most about this community call is that we're seeing some offspring from all the ideas and theories and a lot of the amazing energy that we have within GIG, but a lot of it was just theoretical or more on the the thoughts level. And what I love about this is that we have literally not just tested the device, but tested that kind of collaboration within GIG. And I would hope to see more of this happening. So I think also a documentation of that kind of collaboration is very important. So not just the device, but this idea, as you said, Tom, with knowledge transfer element and why it was so important to get this device from a lab version of it to the ground in the community. I hope that this documentation already exists, and if not, I would love to see more of it, because I would hope that this also would be a start for something bigger for GIG, where we'd have more of these collaborations and we would be able to support them, whether through fundraising or maybe in the future we even have our own micro grant, which is something that we've been trying to land for a while, so that we could allow exactly that type of collaboration to happen between GIG members. So just wanted to add that layer as well.
That's super interesting as well, because a lot of times these business aspects are still missing, right? If a small developer crew forms in the beginning and has an idea and starts to build up a project, maybe they identify the needs over the period of the project, and then they know which roles should be involved later to move on the project. But for now, I think we found this way through GIG even to start this collaboration with another makerspace, but also have GIG in the back as support to find this financial support and guidance on project management and all it needs in the organizational structure behind it, so which makes it way more easier. And yeah, at the end of this collaboration, I think every team comes out with new requirements or insights to the project. And yeah, I see a big opportunity as well to promote these work packages. They are kind of individual for every party, but to promote these in the community so we can just jump on in and collaborate on other aspects as well. But yeah, as Vera said, we also should emphasize on the workload that is connected to that. And yeah, it's always a balance of how open or closed you work at times and when you come together again.
Just to wrap up this thought, some layers of reflection here from my side. Now that this third prototype in collaboration is finished, and I will talk about funds, even though I agree with Fadja's perspective that there are more resources than only funds, but we can totally try to organize a LibreWater meeting, where people can join together, for example, both Science Camp and LibreWater Greece, together with Saad, because we love Saad and we want him everywhere, and maybe Open Flex crew and this kind of people, that are doing in different levels or different moments their hardware project can meet to have a kind of hackathon on LibreWater, and then work together for 2 weeks or 1 week or whatever. And I think this is quite possible now that we made the first stage, we can present something that were made in collaboration, have results, a tasteless water that you can drink, and quite a whole amount of funds for water, where cash can came inside with agriculture perspective, and this kind of thing, develop a hackathon around the LibreWater can be really nice. Norris is talking with the president from Germany,
Actually, there is somebody in the door and want to open it, and I'm in the meeting. I just need to open to them and come back. Just a minute.
Don't worry. I think that's it. And from my side, it was super amazing to work together, I super love these collaborations. And Fadia, I agree with you. It would be nice to have this documentation. Perhaps me and Spiros can work a little bit over it. You know, I can share a text with Spiros because we've been connecting all the dots for a while. Tom very much connecting the Telegram group, you know, and Norris connecting everyone in the ground. So it can be a nice document to write together.
That would be amazing, Ricardo. I think it's super essential because a lot of what we talk about at GIG is about this power of collaboration and bringing people together and having this knowledge transfer. And I feel like it is very evident to us, but maybe not to everyone else. So it would be great to actually get deeper into that layer of what it means to connect people across the internet to create some real impact in the real world. And I feel this is one of maybe the underrepresented areas that we could use every chance we have to put it out there in the world, because that would only help us do more of that. And bring more benefit to the ecosystem.
And maybe, Cassie, we can connect it with the Impetus project that you are running, you know, because somehow makes sense in the citizen social science for transformation that you are working on, and have this as a counterpart. And meet everyone in your land, you know, to make coffee. Makes all the sense.
So we're coming to an end. Thank you so much, Kim. I know you need to leave. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Any last thoughts on this? They're just happy to have you. It was a lovely and amazing call, and thank you for refreshing us all into the rest of our day. We'll keep you posted. We'll try to send a summary of everything that we've talked about today back to the network so that we could involve as many members as possible on this amazing experience. And we look forward to see you on the next. Tomorrow is the Meet the Members. Make it there if you can, please, because it's going to be so much fun as usual. So see you tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you, Norris. Big thank you to Spiros.
Thank you
Tom.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thanks for the
everyone.
session. See you guys around.
Bye. Bye.